What's going on, everyone? Welcome to LogiCast, the Logical Gamers podcast. I'm Esoteric, and I'm here along with Blanka Kong, Gunna Eos, and Hada Wolf. And today, we're going to be discussing a topic pertaining to video game music, music that we can jam to, music that we appreciate within the video game realm. Um, so, without further ado, I'm going to start. I don't have a particular track, but one of the video game music that I appreciate that I could really jam to is from the Tekken franchise. I really appreciate like their sounds. It's like really pumping, really enthusiastic. Um it's it really gets the game going. I feel like that's one of the most prominent aspects of the game is their soundtrack. Um of course alongside their players as well. Um, it most of their tracks are very upbeat, uplifting. There's no real like chorus within them, except for like a few songs that I can actually think of. The endings from Tekken 2, which was phenomenal. But primarily, most of their songs are like upbeat drums. You hear like the percussion instruments, all of that within Tekken. Um, I really enjoyed the franchise soundtrack so much that it's one of the things I listen to when I go to the gym. Like I'm the type of person that has to listen to very energetic music in order to get my workout, and Tekken is definitely it definitely helps out with that. Um, so yeah, I am going to pass it on to you, Kong.
All right, so I want to start off with hold on, let me put this down. Fuck you for taking my first pick because that was also my first pick. Um, but I'll go into depth into I'll go a little deeper
Yeah,
for me
please do.
specifically because um we might like different tracks from Tekken. So I hate most of the music from Tekken 1 and 2 because it's all very like it's like so bland and boring. It doesn't hype me up to fight. But moving from Tekken 3 onward, I think the music really kicked up. So I
You're
love
right.
Tekken 3,
That's true.
Tekken 4, and Tekken 5 specifically. Those three games I think have the best music. And there are standout tracks in Tekken 6 and 7,
Mhm.
but and also the Tekken Tag games. Especially the Tekken Tag like intro theme is so fucking good. It's one of my favorite intros for any Tekken game. And that piano track like really sets the mood. So yeah, Tekken 3 specifically, Lei Wulong's track from Tekken 3 was really good. King, Eddie
Things
Gordo,
was really good.
Law, Jin Kazama was really good.
Mhm.
Um,
Shy you.
Shayu's was good, but I wouldn't put in like my top. It was good though. It
Okay.
was a great theme. But so yeah, like those themes were really good. Tekken 4, the beach theme, the fucking airport theme, Kazuya's theme, Bit Crusher, probably the best track in Tekken 4 in my opinion. Tekken 5 has some good tracks. Tekken 5, the wolf one, the
The Moonlight Grotto you talking about?
oof, that one's really
Yeah,
fucking good. That one's
that was
solid.
my favorite one. I couldn't think of the name, but yeah, yeah,
See,
it was a
great
great
minds,
one.
right? So that
Indeed.
track was good. The track on Lei Wulong's track on Tekken 5 was really good. Um and then there was another one. It's I don't know whose character is linked to, but
What,
I know
Brian
it's
Fury maybe?
it could be. The level is on the top of a building. It's Tekken 5, so it's you're on top of a building and you're just fighting. Obviously you're just fighting. You're on the skyscraper, like you're on the top of a building.
Oh, I think it was like Satellite something, I believe it was called. Something along those lines.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't
And
remember
as
the
you're
name.
getting knocked down, you're like going deeper and deeper into the building. Is that
No, no. That's
okay? So
that's
then
definitely
I'm
not it.
wrong.
No, you're just on a rooftop, on like it looks like just a city, like just a urban cityscape, and you're just on a rooftop and shit, and like you can see like clothes what's it called the string clothesline. You can see
Yeah.
clotheslines with clothes hung up, and like it looks very urban. And I think I just am attracted to just anything urban because it reminds me of home, right? I'm from New York, so anything that has
Makes
that
sense.
aesthetic is like immediately resonates with me. So Tekken 3, Tekken 4, and Tekken 5 are like what I'm about to say might be controversial, might give me some heat, but I don't really give a shit. Um Tekken,
Mm.
I think, has the best fighting game music, period. I think no other franchise as a collective can compare to Tekken's collective OST of music. I think Tekken just nails it. In almost every game, they nail it. And other fighting games obviously have great soundtracks. Like Soul Calibur has a great
Yeah,
soundtrack.
I was gonna say that was a
Killer
close
Instinct
second.
has a
Soul
great soundtrack. Street Fighter has a great soundtrack. A few Mortal Kombat tracks are pretty good, but I think overall, Mortal Kombat's soundtrack is kind of like lacking. Um, but Tekken, I think, just fucking knocks it out the park when it comes to the music. So whoever
Yeah,
composes the music from 3 to 7, specifically from 3 to 5, I think you're like a god among men as far as like composing sick ass techno beats because I can jam to it at any point. Like you mentioned, like going to the gym, like for sure when I'm working out and I'm hitting my weights or whatever, like that gives me the extra little drive I need to like push through like a final set or whatever. So that music can definitely kind of get under my skin in a good way. So Tekken franchise, specifically 3, 4, and 5, are my first pick. What do you got for us, Gunner?
Okay, so my selections are gonna be kind of specific, and then I'm gonna have a general like you guys had. My first one is a specific song in Hades. For those who don't know what Hades is, it's a indie. Yeah, it's still indie roguelike game that blew up. Really great game based off of Greek mythology. Um, Phenomenal game. Recommend you play it if you haven't. But there's a song that you get when you reach the end, because much like a lot of roguelike games, they're all runs. So they have a definite start and a definite end. Then you start a new run. So the final song you hear is, I guess, spoiler alert is what it is. It's called God of the Dead. It's when you fight Hades, who's the last boss that you have to fight before you beat a run. That song is like a 9-minute song, and the reason why it's so long is because it comes in two parts. Like and it relates to the actual fight. So in the fight, the song is like very slow and methodical, and Hades is not really giving you his all. He's kind of like half-ass fighting you because he just wants you to go back to the underworld. Then when you whittle his HP down and his second bar comes in, the song just kicks into some like butt rock like metal playing, because that's when Hades is fucking serious. Like now he's pissed, and you haven't taken the hint, and you need to go back to hell. So like the fact that the song changes from like a slow like build up to this crazy ass metal riff, I it's on like it was one of the first modern game songs that I put into my playlist when I signed up for Spotify, and it's the only Hades song that I have. Now Hades has great music overall, but that song, like I always listen to, whether I'm working out, I'm walking, I'm jogging. I just want to listen to a good song. Definitely the Hades song, God of the Dead, by Darren Korb. I mean, check out the game. The rest of the music's phenomenal. But when if anybody who's listening and watching that has already gotten to it, they know what I'm talking about. Song is great. So that's my first specific one. Wolf, what you got for us?
So my first one is also a fighting game. I just didn't think of Tekken. Um, it is Marvel vs. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I picked that particular type of song because I don't know. I feel like the techno electric remixes to the characters' theme songs I think was fitting for the fast pace um, game that is Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and I love them. I love them all. Um, you can listen to them if you're into listening to video game music, just like Esoteric and Blanka Kong listens to video game music well, all of you listen to video game music when you guys exercise and stuff. Um, but I think Marvel vs. Capcom just hits it so perfectly for what the game is. The remixes are fast paced, they're crazy, much like the video games. Not a lot of people did like the soundtrack for it, but it's easier to complain than to be satisfied in today's day and age. So, or when Marvel vs. Capcom 3 came out. So, but for me personally, I didn't find where anybody's theme song didn't fit for what they were or how they operated or what kind of character they were, with maybe like two or three. I've never liked Iron Man's theme song in any Marvel vs. Capcom game. So that's that. But, and Iron Man is still one of my favorite characters ever. But like Captain America's theme song,
I was
reused
just
techno.
thinking of Captain
Yeah,
America's theme.
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Reused theme song remix. Taskmasters. I listened to it earlier today and I was like, Taskmaster had a phenomenal theme song in Marvel vs.
Hawkeye.
Capcom 3.
Hawkeye had a really good one.
Hawkeye.
Yeah.
There were so many really, really good ones, in my opinion, that you by listening to each track, they're all from the same game.
Yeah.
Which I think is very important when it comes to video game music. But
True.
I don't know. Like, I listened to Wolverine's theme song, and for the first 20 seconds, all I could think about is the Power Rangers theme song, Mighty Morphin version. And it's just like I don't know. For me, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom, I had put down as the definition of OST in fighting games, period. But I think you guys got it better with the Tekken one. I think Tekken theme music is even better. However, I still love Ultimate MVC theme song. I love the music in that game. Perfect, phenomenal. That's my first pick.
Oh man, these are some very nice picks here. These are things that I would listen to. Um, with the exception of Hades, because I haven't played Hades yet. I want to, so I'm definitely looking forward to hearing the soundtrack from that game. Um, but yeah, I guess my second selection, it it was a game that I recently played like sometime last year. I streamed it. It was a phenomenal game. And it was one of those songs where if I'm on a long bus ride or if I'm just like taking any type of form of transportation, as Kong would know too because he's seen me do this, I would be driving and blasting tracks from particular video game series.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my next selection would have to be the final boss, the Lord of Cinder theme from Dark Souls 3. Like
Oh, uh-huh.
that song is phenomenal. Like oh my goodness. As I was fighting the boss, I was getting goosebumps just listening to the theme and also, on the edge of my seat because I'm getting my ass kicked. Um but yeah, the song just kind of capsulated the entire experience. So there was a part where when you get the boss to a certain HP threshold, the the music comes from like it starts off with a orchestra like ambiance, and then once you defeat once you get the HP down to a certain threshold, excuse me, I'm like rambling over my words, the music changes and kind of like into a remix of the first song of the final boss in Dark Souls 1, and it was like it gives you like a piano ambient kind of sound, and I was like, "Yo, this is amazing," because the song can change at any given time based upon how skilled you are and how fast you get the HP down. So the way that they were able to kind of formulate the music into a way that it transitioned from that to that was like amazing. Also, with the piano ambience, it kind of gave me like the inclination that I was at the end of the game. Because usually when you hear certain songs, you would hear either like piano or like kind of minor tunes going towards the end of the game. I mean the end of the song, excuse me. So it was just super subtle. It was just a beautiful symphony, if I would have to say. Not taken away from the rest of the game because the game had phenomenal music, but the one that captivated me the most was the Lord of Sin theme. It was well produced, it was well orchestrated, it was just well done. And that would be my second selection. And passing it on to you, Kong.
Okay, that's a good pick. And I want to say something about quickly about Marvel vs. Capcom 3. That game has phenomenal music, and I think it definitely like makes it to like if we had to pick like top maybe top five all time OSTs for fighting games. I think it would find its way up there for sure.
Yeah.
And I think like what they did with the game where like the character would come in and then their theme would pop off, kind of like how the Japanese version of Tatsunoko versus Capcom did it, which was
Yep.
so sick. It was so sick.
Yeah.
It added so much to the fight. Um, so it's nice that they brought that back in MVC3. So it adds a lot to the game, and it makes the themes just mean more. And I
Yeah.
think the themes are very uniform, like you mentioned. Like it fits this universe that they've created within the MVC game. So that was a great fucking pick. I totally forgot about MVC. But anyway, my second pick is gonna be Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2. We
Oh yes,
we don't talk
yes.
about DKC3 because that game doesn't exist. Yeah, Donkey Kong Country music. I knew I know the guy's. Well, I knew the guy's name. It's escaping me right now, but he composed the music for both games, and he also composed the music for Banjo Kazooie. That guy is a genius. Like his the DK music is so iconic. Like you can play it anywhere, and like it doesn't have to be like a video game venue or an event. People will listen to that music. And go, wow, this is really catchy. Like it doesn't have to be. It's music that can work anywhere else. You
David
know,
Wise you're talking about, right?
I think so. Yeah, yeah. Thank
I
you.
think that's his name.
I
Yeah.
think so too. That sounds right. Um. So yeah, Donkey Kong Country 2 and 1 specifically, those tracks are like timeless to me. Those are tracks that stand the test of time for video game music. You can't beat them. I mean, I have more to offer, but that's I'm not gonna gush too much about those games. Like, just fucking go listen to Donkey Kong Country 1 and Donkey Kong Country 2 music. Just listen to
Yeah.
it, and you'll
Yeah,
know why.
whew,
I
that's
think
a
Donkey Kong
great
Country
pick.
2 music is phenomenal,
Yeah,
personally.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Like what's that stage? Brimble Bramble
Yeah,
with
the
that nice
Oh
boom
yeah.
little
boom
smooth.
boom 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 boom. Oh my god, that
Yeah.
shit is so sick, so good.
Yeah. I personally like the construction area
Oh
in
yeah,
Donkey Kong
factory.
1. Oh my
Do-do-do-do-do-dum.
god.
Do-do-do-do-do. Oh man, that shit is
Amazing.
so intense, especially when
I'm
you're
getting
playing.
goosebumps talking about it. Shit.
That shit takes me back to '96,
It
man.
does. It
But
definitely
yeah, but
does.
that's my second entry. So Gunner, it's all you.
It's
Gunner, you
gonna
there?
around.
Okay, so remember, kids, take your headset off of mute when you're going to talk on a podcast. Um, what I was saying was, okay, so I fabricated my previous statement. This one is going to be the whole soundtrack, or specifically the boss songs for that soundtrack. Now, I guess it's a spin-off and a mainline series. So my next pick for video game music that I still jam to is every single boss song from Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
Oh. Oh.
Now,
Okay.
we all know Metal Gear. We all know where Metal Gear is now. But there was a time when Metal Gear games were good. This one's a little bit, kind of iffy. Some people like it, some people hate it. This was a spin-off that took place after Metal Gear Solid 4, before Phantom Pain. So it featured the main character Raiden, who was the main character of Metal Gear Solid 2. The reason why I like the boss music specifically was touched upon by Esoteric when he talked about the final boss from Dark Souls 3. What, but he didn't say it. But I don't know if the word is that type of music in a fight is called contextual music.
Oh, thank
What
you.
it
Didn't
yeah,
know that.
I didn't want to like cut you out because I knew that me and you were talking about the same type of the same way that music is used in certain boss fights, and that's the word for it, contextual. What that means is that the song will play at, let's say, an instrumental level for a certain point in the fight, and then when you get to a certain HP bar, the song switches from the instrumental version to the vocal version. And Metal Gear Solid Rising did the same thing. So the first boss you fight is a Metal Gear Ray. We all know Metal Gear, big crazy robot Gundam thing. So in the fight, you're fighting it, and you're slicing it, you're cutting it with your ninja sword, and it's the instrumental version of the song. And it's again a butt rock song. So when you hit a certain HP point, and you literally, and I'm not joking, for those who know, they know I'm telling the truth. Raiden will grab the Metal Gear Ray and suplex it. He picks up this
What?
giant. I'm look it up on YouTube and you'll find it. He picks up a Metal Gear Ray and he suplexes it. And when he picks up the Ray to suplex it, that's when the instrumental switches to vocal. So now this guy is jamming out on the guitar while Raiden is suplexing a Ray. And then the instrumental and the vocals go nuts while he runs along it and cuts the thing to pieces. To me, yes, it was a action command. It was a button sequence, but it was so
Yeah,
well
but
done
you
with the
grew
music.
like 100
You
hairs on your chest just
you
watching
did.
that shit.
Oh my god! Like when I'm about to look up the YouTube a fight of it from someone who knows what they're doing just to see that again because it's he just picks it up and then the guy's like the first thing you hear is like fucking rules of nature and then like he's flipping the Metal Gear like it's fucking amazing and every boss is like that. So if you're not very good at the game, let's use nice words. If you're not very good, you'll just hear instrumentals the whole time. But if you know what you're doing and you master the game, the music just like adds so much more to the boss fight. And this is from a kind of a simple action adventure game, but the music for that game sells it. And the only thing to top that comes from and I just want to like sneak it in since we're in here. So I'll get a 2-for-1er. Is the final song when you're fighting Liquid Snake on top of the Metal Gear, how it goes through every Metal Gear opening theme from Metal Gear to Metal Gear Solid 4.
Oh,
Like
yes, yes, yes.
and it
Okay.
changes like the health bars, but that's going into the actual
It's like
gameplay.
ultimate fan service right there for
Yeah,
Metal Gear heads.
right, because it was supposed to be the end of Metal Gear, and that's besides the point. And then we had another one. But like that, like the way if you do music right, even in a simple action game that's supposed to be mindless, it just adds so much more to the overall game. And I don't remember a lot about the game because the story was pretty fucking meh. But the boss fights, I will remember every single boss fight. They're all memorable. So if anybody listening or watching or any of you guys ever decide to play Rising, it's on PC. 'Cause other than that, it's stuck on the PlayStation 3. Um, just play it for the boss fights alone, or just watch the boss fights and to see what I'm talking about. But Metal Gear Rising, love the boss soundtracks and the way they implemented it in the game, amazing. So that's my next entry. Wolf, you got another one for us?
Yeah, my next entry, Esoteric and Blanka Kong will not know in any way, shape, or form.
Hello,
Uh,
Kitty.
so, sorry. Gunnar will know it if he even remembers the soundtrack of this game. But my next two entries, you guys are not gonna know. So for my next entry is Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Hmm. Okay.
So you guys hear me say that before that Xenoblade Chronicles is fucking anime on a console. The music that plays in that game, you wouldn't expect it coming from a pretty what a JRPG is. There's the one particular soundtrack which is actually in Smash Brothers Counterattack.
Hmm.
When
Yeah.
that song plays, big shit about to happen.
Yeah. That
It's
song is
like
so good.
when when we all were growing up, and for those of us that watched Naruto when we were growing up, and the flute starts playing, and that's how we knew that that character was about to fuck some shit up. That's what Counterattack is for Xenoblade. So
Okay.
that soundtrack was play, and the reason why I picked the next two games, the reason why I picked it is because it isn't necessarily, well, it's music you definitely can jam to because of the type of genre of music it is, but it works for the game in itself. The
Right.
message that it gives for the game fits the tone of the game. And the first one is for Xenoblade is Counterattack. Then there's the other one which is called Battle, which is it's the basic battle theme of the song of the game, but it amps you up to know. It's the type of song that reminds you that you can do anime as fuck shit, not just in the cutscenes, but also controlling the
Right.
characters. So the
Right.
cutscenes aren't just like there for flashy show. Those are things that you actually can do. So when you have that battle theme that's playing while doing the crazy anime shit, combining elements and blowing shit up for millions and millions of points, yeah, it's just right then and there. It's just like it glues everything together to know that you're playing something awesome. You're playing something amazing. You're playing something good. That it
Yeah.
keeps you in the zone of the video game. And honestly, I'm not over exaggerating when I say Xenoblade 2 has one of the best soundtracks in any RPG that I've ever played. Is no freaking joke. It's very amped. It's very hype. It's energetic and it's amazing.
Yeah,
Like
you know what? Yeah, I could agree with that. Yeah.
it, it, so for my second pick is Xenoblade Chronicles 2, not the other ones. I didn't fully complete the first one for me to say what Shulk game is like in terms of music, but I know for sure Chronicles 2 music is phenomenal for what the game offered you and for what it's set up for you within the playthrough.
I mean, yeah, when you hear that song while fucking anime girls are flying around, fucking like laser beams, and two bitches are fucking fusing to make one super powerful chick, and
And
she's
they're
like,
moving
I'm
at super speed, they're running on the
yeah,
walls.
and then you got some other chick with a tiger, and this chick's got dual blade. It's fucking nuts. It's
It was like literally control. Xenoblade 2 was literally anime on a fucking console.
yes, yeah, it's
That's what
anime.
it was.
Yeah,
It,
when they
amazing
say
anime.
anime as fuck, it was really anime as fuck.
So those are my
Wow.
picks. That's my second pick. Your turn, Esoteric.
Yeah, I probably might have heard it in Smash Brothers because I recently did play it. But I was too busy fighting to like really listen to it or whatever.
The songs that I'm talking about are in Smash Brothers. So if you don't want to like, you can just even YouTube it and you'll just listen to it and you'll hear it. But even if you just play Smash Brothers regularly, you'll eventually come across the songs and you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So my third one, I would have to say, would be the Halo theme from obviously the game Halo. Um,
That's a
at
good pick.
first,
That's a good pick.
when I first heard it, I'm like, what is this shit? Like, what is it? Had like try like a Gregorian chant. That's how it starts off. Then it goes into like a percussion section and like low string section, and then it starts to pick up with like drums. And it's just an amazing song. Like I feel like you guys have already heard it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like it's just it's I can't even really describe it because it starts off with the chant, then it picks up into like a a steady beat, and then you hear just like what resembles someone jamming to a guitar, based off the iteration that I listened to recently.
You're talking about the
Uh,
Halo 2 theme. That's
It's
because Halo 1 was just the chanting, and then Halo 2 introduced the ba-doom, that part, and then the guitar riff. That's Halo 2.
oh,
isn't it called
really?
Warthog Run, right? I
Something
think.
like that. I think that's
I
the name of
only
the game.
remember because I know that's the name of the vehicles that they use in the game, but it's just like Warthog Run, such a weird name for a song. But I think that's the one you're talking about, unless you're talking about a different one.
Well, here's the thing. So what I remember vividly is that I remember it started in one, and then I remember the last one that I played, Halo 3, the last section where you're on the Warthog. So it's probably his Warthog Run, and
I think it might be that
you're
one.
running, you're basically escaping the ring or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and then it's
Mm-hmm.
revving up the whole
Mm-hmm.
music, and then you're
Mm-hmm.
like hauling
Yep.
ass on the Warthog, just
Oh yeah, I
gunning
remember.
shit down and killing the Covenant and the Flood and just going ape shit. Like it's I can't even put it into words
Hmm.
how great that song is. I can't even really describe it, but when I first heard the beginning portion of it, I was intrigued by it, and then when it led up to like the beat, it was like, wow, that's it's really dope. I wouldn't categorize it as a song that I would play in the gym, but it's definitely a song that would like get me amped up. If I had it playing as an alarm, so to speak, kind of like I didn't even say Gal's theme. That would have been another one. But if I had it as an alarm, um, I could see myself waking up with some type of energy and some type of like ampness and like assertiveness. Just okay, I'm ready for the day. I'm ready to go. Whatever's thrown at me, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Um, I really can't say much words for it. It's just great. I feel like
It's
for
an
those people who haven't,
iconic song in gaming. Period. I know
Yeah.
about the song, and I never really played Halo till very recently.
wow,
No,
wow, I never even knew that.
no, I was on the Sony PlayStation bandwagon. I never owned an Xbox.
Mm.
Yeah, I luckily enough, like I had family that kind of gave me their Xbox. Um and it got stolen in our college, but that's a whole nother story. Um but yeah, I was blessed enough to play that game and to see I didn't even know that the song transitioned that well because what I remember vividly is Halo 3 and that last particular part. Everything else is kind of like a blur, but that song was so good that it kind of yeah, like I remember it
Hmm.
from the first one till now. So yeah, the Halo theme song was my next one.
Good one.
Okay.
Yeah, so I gotta piggyback off that Halo one. Um, I still remember the end sequence of everything blowing up, and it's like it was so emotional. Like it's like, Chief, we got to get out of here, and that's Cortana speaking to you or whatever, and it's like, yeah, I
Yeah.
got it. It's so fucking cheesy, but it's so effective. It's like, I don't know the actor's voice, but the voice actor for Master Chief, specifically Spartan 117, he's like, he has that like typical white guy. Yeah, I got this under control. Like he's got that voice,
Yeah,
so
you
it
got
just
that 90s action
Yeah,
movie.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely, and it's
Yeah.
like this is fucking great. And unlike Gunner's previous entry with Metal Gear Rising, where that game is like it can be incredible if like you're highly skilled at the game, but like you can also kind of get like hype moments because of just the nature of the game design, where it's just like it's action command, so you get like a cutscene thing, like an interactive cutscene.
Yeah.
Whereas this particular moment in Halo, it's all you. Like you get in that fucking car and you're just driving, and just like
Yeah.
things are exploding and motherfuckers getting in your way. Like you're not gonna leave, and it's like fuck you, and you just run that motherfucker over.
And
It's
then jumping
so
over
fucking great.
terrains and stuff.
Yeah, and you're
It
like,
was
there's a bunch
amazing.
of ramps, and it's so fucking cheesy, and it's so like 90s action movie cliche, but it fucking nails it. And there's a reason why that's cliche, is because it works.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
anyway, the Halo theme, great fucking entry on Esoteric's part. So my theme shares some parallels to the Halo theme, and it's, of course, I had to say it, the Monster Hunter Proof of a Hero theme.
I figured you was
That
gonna. I figured you
that
was gonna say it.
track, I mean, first of all, it's already a good track just by itself.
Yeah.
Raw dogging it, it's like it's such a great song. It's so heroic. It's so like uplifting, right? But the way they use it in
Yes.
certain parts of the game, specifically if we're talking Monster Hunter 2, when you're fighting in Monster Hunter 1 as well, when you're fighting Lao Shan, and the
Hmm.
music pops off at the end when you use the Dragonator, it's like holy shit. But most recently, hearing it at the end of the Fatalis battle,
Oh,
which
Yeah.
took
okay. Yes.
so much work to get to, right? Figuring out the first two phases to get to that third phase, and then knowing enough in the third phase to get the Dragonator activated, and like, and the mission's already like 30 minutes long or 35 minutes long. So it's like you're up against the clock too, because we've timed out on that mission a few times.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But when it hit the first time, I still remember the first time that we got that far, and the music hit, and we got the dun, 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 I was like, my whole body goosebumps. Like
Shipwreck.
I wanted to cry. I'm not even gonna like it. Very rarely do I get those moments, but this was one of those moments, and it's like for me personally, and it's for you guys too, because we were all there. Um, this is like at this point in time, this is 10 years of history, kind of like molded into one. So it felt almost real. Like it was like, yo,
Yeah.
we've been here before, and so like
Hmm.
it that song is fucking
Especially,
great.
especially considering it's coming from a genre that you thought was gonna die. Like you thought they weren't gonna make anything like this. You know.
Well, that's adding
Um.
a lot more flair to it, right? Because before Monster Hunter World came out, and before it was announced, I honestly thought Monster Hunter Generations was the swan song. That was it. Like I thought
Yeah.
that was the last game we were gonna get, and I was like, okay, well, you know what? Because it was like a celebration of the franchise, so I felt like, all right,
Yeah.
this might be them saying goodbye, and it's sad, but it's like, all right, well, this is a strong note to end on. So like, it's sad, but it's I'd rather it end that way than it become a shell of its form of what it used to be.
True.
Um, Not that it's there yet. I feel like it's maybe heading there in some respects, but we won't get into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, but for Monster Hunter World to exist, first of all, and for it to be as good as it is, second of all, and then for like the final battle, the final DLC, for it to be Fatalis, which is like a really iconic monster to like older Monster Hunter fans, um, like us, right? We all Fatalis was like the king shit. He was the big baddie. He was the guy, right? Once you had Fatalis armor, you were a god amongst hunters, right? Like that's how important that battle was. So for us to be able to do it in this new Monster Hunter game, um, and 10 or 12 years after we started Monster Hunter, and then to get the fucking music, and it's not just the iteration, the Monster Hunter World iteration of Proof of the Hero. It was the original version of Proof of a Hero, which it meant so much more. It was like, oh, you motherfucker! Like whoever thought of that, give that guy a fucking raise, right? It meant a lot to me. Like them, you could tell there was a lot of love and care put into that particular boss battle, and it made that song already so special, like mean so much more. So yeah,
You're
That
Proof of
right.
a
whole
Hero, Monster Hunter, for sure.
that whole fight was just one big thank you to the fans
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
in every way, every way. Yeah, whooped the ass a couple times, but it still was phenomenal.
And I love how music can invoke emotions because
Emotion. Yeah.
when I hear the song from every single Monster Hunter game installment whatever, like as you're fighting the whoever it is that starts up that music that cues it towards the end, you feel a sense. For me, I can't speak for y'all, but I feel a sense of accomplishment. I feel like holy shit, it's winding down. We're down to the wire. It's just stamina at this point. It's just adrenaline is pumping. You're trying to get everything done, finalized, nail and coffin. It's like when you hear that music, it's like wow, you really put in the work to get here, and it's been for every single
Dude,
fight that
they
you have.
played that shit at the Olympics. Like,
Wait,
What?
for
what?
Yeah, they played the Monster Hunter theme at the Olympics in Tokyo last year.
Are you
Wow, I
serious?
didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Oh yeah. I'll share the video again because I shared it. I guess you guys missed it. But yeah, they
I
played it
probably forgot.
at the Olympics, and I was just like, we made it, boys! Like we finally, like this game is getting the recognition that it
Yeah,
deserves.
from this niche title on the PSP of all things, and then later the 3DS and DS.
Yeah,
But
so
like I said, the Monster Hunter is one of those. It first and foremost, you don't know where you are with the monster. You go through the whole fight. I mean, usually if it's an Elder Dragon, if it's a big Elder Dragon, they don't do the whole limping thing too much. So you don't really know where you are with the monster. So you're at 100% the whole fight from beginning till very end. You're at
Yeah.
100%. That monster, especially the Elder Dragons, they're at 200% the whole fight. Then the music kicks in. You go back and you start thinking about the shit that you endured to create this armor set to fight this monster. It's just like, just this epicness on top of epicness on top of epicness that just keeps piling on you.
building and building and building. Yeah,
It's just
Yeah.
like it. By the time you get and you hear Proof of a Hero, you honestly feel like you can pick up a greatsword right now and go hunt a fucking
yeah.
tiger.
It gives you
Like
that
you,
second wind.
That
It's like, yeah,
yeah,
it's an incredible feeling.
that is
it-
true. And then to piggyback off of Wolf's point, like in those times that we get that contextual music, that I learned from, Gunna a few moments ago, for it to transition from Proof of a Hero and then you hear the song of being carded, that shit hurts my soul, man. I feel
That's
so
well,
funny.
disappointed. I feel like I don't even want to play the game anymore. I feel so defeated, But then, after a few moments, I'm like, nah, I got to get back to this because Proof of a Hero is proof that you almost kicked this monster's ass. You can't leave it unfinished. You have to go back.
you have to go back and
That's how I
try.
feel about that song.
Yeah, I I love that.
So before Gunner goes, if I die before all of you, and you
Okay.
are
Play
in my funeral, that song has to be played. Like,
as as we hold in his coffin. Dun, 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 dun.
Okay.
And then we just have all the banners of each Monster Hunter hung up at the church.
that'll be so sick. I mean, it sucks that I won't see it, but if you can pull it off, that'd be so sick. I'd be so
And have
grateful.
the have
I'll be looking
the
up
coffin.
in happiness.
You just
Wait,
have the
He said
coffin
he's looking
engraved.
up in happiness. Did y'all catch that?
You be
Did
looking down?
wait a minute.
I'm a realist. I'll be looking up in happiness.
All
I
right.
guess you'll be hearing that song in Hades, huh?
Maybe.
Oh,
Right.
that I had to like double take on that one. That was a good one.
Wow.
All right, Gunner, you're up. I got two more that I want to talk about.
Okay. So my next one is this from a those who know it will know it, but this is kind of a niche game, but I love it. It's because if anybody hasn't guessed right now, my favorite genre of video games is RPGs. I play a lot of RPGs
Clearly,
almost
racing games.
exclusively. Yeah, right. I love Forza. Give me more. Um, but this song, this specifically, it's much like a lot of the songs that Wolf talked about in Xenoblade. It's a very simple name. This one has a simple name as well. It's just called Battlefield, but it's not from Battlefield. It's from a RPG series called Etron Odyssey,
Mm.
specifically Etron Odyssey 5. And Kong talked about Monster Hunter was like a love letter, or Generations was a love letter to the Monster Hunter franchise. That's what Etron Odyssey 5 was. Etron Odyssey 5 was the last mainline Etron Odyssey on the 3DS. I hope to God we see one on the Switch at some point, but we'll see. But it was the last game on the 3DS before the 3DS was discontinued, even though Nintendo said
But
they weren't going to discontinue it, and they did. But so that one had it was like the everything from Etron Odyssey 1 through 4 just in the game, including some of the music. and the Battlefield was basically the first combat song you heard. And what it did was just amp you up like you're on your own adventure. Because that's what Etron Odyssey is. Etron Odyssey is a Japanese take on Dungeons and Dragons. So it's first person. You basically build your team from archetypes. You name them what you want to name them. They don't have names. There's no set characters. You build the party you want. It's literally your adventure. So if you want a whole team of buddy girls, you can do it. You want a whole team of swordsmen? Not advisable, but you can do it. So like what this song was like a really upbeat, like kind of rocky, kind of synthy techno type song. Was just like, okay, this is our first battle with my brand new team. Do I die in this dungeon or do I like progress past the first fight? So like that song, like I could jam to that all the time because I just remember where my team was when I had that first battle. And it's like, oh yeah, I remember my first team. I just put things together and we died in the first battle. And like I got a game over. I booted up the game, went through the cutscenes, got to the first battle, got a game over. So that's like a personal reason why I like this song so much. But from a song aspect, it's a great song. It's super upbeat in a game where everything is first person. So it's not like a Final Fantasy game where you see like Cloud or Titus or whatever on the screen. Your character's a still image. That's how Tron Odyssey's always been. So the music always has to be bumping because the visuals are limited. So hey, if anybody's watching or reading or hearing this and they know of Etron Odyssey, type in your team composition in the comments because I can go for days on the different team builds that I used in that game. But yeah, Battlefield from Etron Odyssey 5 specifically, an amazing RPG song, and I highly recommend it to anybody who loves RPGs.
think I think I've heard it, Gunner, because you did a 2 minute 2 cents on it back then, and I think that was the theme for that video.
Because yeah, it more than likely is. I'd have to watch it again, but it more than likely because it's the first battle theme that you hear when you enter your first battle.
Okay,
So
because
all the
I remember like listening to it. And I was like, oh, this shit sounds good. Okay, this has to be for the video. So
yeah, I mean, I have it on. It's another one of the songs that is on my Spotify playlist that I put it on really early in its lifetime. But yeah, so anybody who's watched that ancient 2 minute 2 cents, that's the song I'm talking about, and that song is great, a great battle song, because battle songs make or break RPGs, and if you have a lame song in an RPG and you have to hear that every time you get into a fight, you're not gonna have a good time, regardless of the story or combat. So yeah, hope to see more from Metron Odyssey in the future. We'll see. It's a waiting game. But all right, that's my next one. Wolf, you said you got another one for us.
Yes, and my other one is also a game that Blanka Kong and Esoteric never played, probably never will play. But Ghana, me and you have played it, so I'm going with
Okay,
it.
nah, go.
Um, much like Gunna, I do love my RPGs. So this next one is also from an RPG, Persona 5. Now,
Mm.
Persona 5, amongst all three Persona 5 games, regular, vanilla 5, Royal, and Strikers, has 140 tracks to it.
wow.
Persona 5 is a concert on a disc in general. From There's three specific songs that I took from each one where it's just phenomenal. So you have from the original game, Life Will Change, which that song plays when you are ready to confront the final boss of whatever dungeon you're doing at that given moment. But what I love about the Persona 5 games is that they use jazz, funk, disco, soul, hip hop, pop as their main genres of music. This is all genres that I like, especially jazz, funk, and soul. I love that those genres. So to have a RPG that has music that plays homage or takes from such genre, for me, it melts me every time, every single time. Now, the Persona games has always been known to have wonderful music to them or great music to them. That's typically those are the genres that the Persona games typically take from, whether it's jazz or hip hop or I think Persona 3 took from hip hop most because
Persona 3
Persona
was
3 was a lot of rap.
Mass
Um,
Destruction to this day is my favorite song.
but while the Persona franchise never really failed me in terms of giving me a soundtrack or music that I really, really love and can listen to, the Persona 5 soundtrack just blows the other ones out of the water. It again, the soundtrack to a video game is important to me in how it helps convey what the video game is. Um, and much like the music, the characters were very bold, even though they all wore black as their main color. Well, the main character did anyways. They in the end of the day, they were still very bold characters, and you can easily identify them when you look at them.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
if I gave you three anime characters, the Persona 5 characters, or three JRPG characters lineup, the Persona 5 characters, any one person who even got an idea of what Persona 5 is can easily pick them out. Much like if you were to listen to the Persona 5 soundtrack, you can easily pick out this soundtrack came from Persona 5. And again, I love consistency in my video games. So the consistency in the tracks are on point. Though they're all vocal, by the way. Most of the
Yeah.
music in Persona 5 are vocal. Um, the music in Persona 5 is so popular that you have people who's resung them, you have people who reimagine them. Persona 5 sometimes music sometimes is even played in the background for some YouTubers. It's just like, and I'm talking about not YouTubers that necessarily play RPGs on their channel, So it's just like the music is it fits the genre of of what the game is about, but it also brings something out of you when you're actually listening to the music and you're listening to the lyrics. And typically the lyrics is really all about, being who you are, being honest with yourself, which we all had a conversation with Blanka Kong and him sticking on being honest to himself. Um, it that's what Persona 5 was really about. It really was about, being honest with who you are. And each of those soundtracks fit that song or fit that theme so well. Colors Flying High, which is the intro to Persona Royal, Life Will Change, which is the boss battle for the game, and then Rivers in the Desert, which came from Strikers. All those three songs stood out to me the most because of just how influential the music can be when it's lined up with what the storyline for those characters are.
Right.
It's as long as it fits and it makes sense, it's phenomenal for me. So for me, Persona 5 in general have amazing soundtracks, and each of those tracks are worth listening to
Oh yeah.
personally.
They have good vocal tracks. They have good instrumental tracks
Yeah,
of wide
it's
variety of music. So,
a very wide variety of music. They did not, I don't think they held back much when it came to Persona 5 soundtrack.
yeah, I could
140
agree with
songs.
that. Yeah. Right.
All right, Esoteric, you have any more?
Well, this one I'm just like pretty much pulling out on my ass because you guys mentioned a lot of RPGs and it kind of prompt me to think about it. Um, this one is from an RPG. Highly doubt anybody's going to even hear it or listen to it because it's not getting any love and it probably will never get any love in the
I
future.
think I know which one. Let me see.
But it's the battle theme from Golden Sun.
Hey.
Um,
I knew that. I did my research on that.
it it is a phenomenal theme. I'm gonna just keep it short and sweet. It's a great theme. I wish you guys would be able to hear it, but I highly doubt you would even take the time to type it up on YouTube or whatever to look into it. And you won't be able to play it because it's only on the GPA and I believe the 3DS. It's
DS.
nowhere else out there at all. Like it's really
I think
difficult to
you mean
find.
the DS. Didn't they port it to the DS?
Yeah, the
No,
DS.
No,
they
no, I think it
did.
was the 3DS. I got it
Nope.
for the
It was on
3DS.
the DS. Check again. It's on the DS.
Yeah, because I
Oh,
remember.
you're talking about the
No,
original two Golden
you're
Suns?
talking about the third iteration of Golden Sun. I'm talking about like 1 and 2 that has been
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
was that ported? You sure?
that was
Physically, or was
imported.
it
No, okay, so 1 and 2 essentially was
Game Boy
the
Advance?
DLC. Like you can download it. The third one was for the
DS.
DS.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I didn't know it was digitally available. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was
That's
digitally
cool.
available. As far as porting, I don't think there was any ports. To
Well,
my
that's what I
knowledge, I
mean. It
could be
was
wrong.
ported to the 3DS shop, which you can
Y-
download, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so the DS one was a completely new, different game.
Yeah, it was the third one. It was about the main
Ah.
character from the first one's son and
Ah.
their children within that story. I loved it. It didn't do really well. It sucks. I've been trying to get this guy into a Smash Brothers game. Nintendo pretty much said no.
So when you say
So
trying to
Doesn't
get this
answer his
guy,
calls.
what
I
did you
mean, I
do? Like,
mean,
did you write
I mean,
letters?
as
Did you
in
make phone
like
calls? Did you write emails?
I didn't do any of that. What I'm saying is I've been hoping and praying that pretty much he would make
He's been
a
sending thoughts
appearance.
and prayers, man.
Pretty much,
Ah,
yeah.
okay. Hitting that like button. I see.
Yeah, but that didn't happen. So,
Well,
I think that
well, Esoteric, I got you. Because when my Game Boy Advance comes back from being upgraded, I actually have Golden Sun 1 and 2 on the GBA
me too.
cartridges. I
Me
will
too.
play it, and I will hear this song from the dinky little speakers of the SP.
When I was doing my research earlier, I came across it and I did listen to the whole video. I didn't divert from it. It's a good soundtrack. He's not lying. It is a good soundtrack.
Yeah, it's a pretty it has the game overall has pretty decent like soundtrack to it, but Nintendo pretty much said, "Yeah, this is getting
Hey,
scrapped."
man, I never thought I'd see another Advance Wars. I mean, it's just a remake, and they got pushed back, but you know, don't 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 get rid of your hope. Hold out. You never
Yeah,
know.
okay, I'll have a glimmer of hope, but I'm definitely not gonna hold my breath or gamble on
No,
it.
don't do that because your luck won't hold out.
So yeah, that's the one that I pulled out of thin air, and I'm passing it on to you, Kong, if you have any left.
Yes, I mean I have plenty left, but we'll be here for. All right. So, for anyone listening, sorry about the weird cut, but we got cut off somewhere in there. So, yeah, Esoteric was talking about. What was your last one? Golden
My
Sun.
last
Yeah,
one
yeah.
was about Golden Sun. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have two that I want to just throw out there. First is Shadow of the Colossus. I think the music for that game is fantastic. Really amps up the boss battles and helps convey the story. It has like heroic instrumentals as well as like somber instrumentals, which I think works well together. And I highly recommend you check it out. Esoteric just finished a stream on it like a week or two ago. Well, when this gets published, it'll probably be a month ago. So if you haven't seen that stream, it's up on our channel on our gameplay section. And I also wanted to mention Skyrim, the main Skyrim theme. I think that song is really good and iconic. I think most people know which theme I'm talking about, and it's one of those themes that like makes you want to run up a mountain and chop something in half with an axe. Like it just really amps you up, or it can amp you up. So that's my last one. Gunnar, I know you had another one, right?
Yeah, mine is quick. I know we touched on the Monster Hunter music before, and mine comes from an odd place, but it's always a song that stuck with me, and it's the only song from that game that I have on it. It's Sedeus's theme from Monster Hunter 3.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yes, that's really nice.
No,
Really nice.
yeah, just to keep it short, I really didn't play a lot of Monster Hunter 3 because of extenuating circumstances, but I did get up to Sedeus in the I guess the village quests, I should say. And there was something about that really haunting theme in conjunction with fighting him, basically solely in water. He was a water only monster, and
Mhm.
it's literally like a giant fucking whale that I have to hang on to, kind of like a la Shadow Colossus like. I'm not a I don't really have a huge fear of the open ocean like that, but that particular fight combined with that song and the monster always creeped me out, and I wouldn't really fight him a whole lot
How do you think I felt?
because yeah, I know it was worse, yeah, for you, but that's why when I found out his armor wasn't that good for me, I was like, okay, cool, I could move on because that fight was just like I actually had like a little bit of anxiety, but that song stuck with me, and I remember that one fight from Monster Hunter 3, which otherwise would not rank high on my top Monster Hunter games. But that Sadea's theme, that it's a good one, but not something I'm gonna jam to every day. But I do like it nonetheless.
No, if I can recollect, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kong, I believe that, well, Kong um listens to music in his sleep, and I believe there was one day where he was listening to the Sadeas theme, and I think he woke up like
In a
choking
panic.
or drowning or
Yep,
some shit
true.
because
So
Yeah.
because he was listening to Sadea's theme. Like, so just to, it's not funny. It's funny, but it's not funny. But I say this to kind of express the magnitude of how music can kind of like give you a sense of feeling. You know what I'm saying?
No,
It
sometimes a good game is made exceptionally better by its soundtrack, and sometimes the soundtrack makes a
yeah,
game.
I don't
yeah,
even think that's sometimes. I think it's most of the time that
it's
that's the
very
case.
impressionable.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess depending on what game it is, because I doubt, like, this might be disingenuous, but I doubt if I'm playing Black Ops, I'm playing it for its gripping soundtrack, even though it might have some bangers. But you know,
I
it's,
can't think of any, honestly.
I should say with more story focused games, the soundtrack is important, if not paramount.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
with Monster Hunter 3, like that game, while it's not our favorite, I bought and downloaded the soundtrack for it a long time ago, and I personally love the soundtrack. I think there's a lot of good tracks on there. But yeah, that story is true. I do sometimes, I don't do it so much lately, but I do listen to music to kind of put me to sleep, and I'll leave it on going. And I remember waking up in like a panic. I was dreaming I was drowning basically, and I was choking on my own saliva. So like my body betrayed me and fucking created a situation where my body went into like a weird panic mode, and that song was playing. So I don't know if the song prompted that to kind of happen, or if it was just a weird coincidence. But I remember ever since that moment, I was like, "Yo, that monster is cursed." Like I remember not wanting to even fight it
Yeah,
at all
and then they
because
gave
it just felt like demonic, like real demonic. So,
yeah,
but that song
and
is
then they
great though.
put a Lagiacrus only in there by itself, a big ass one too. But I digress.
Yeah, Abyssal
But it
Legaia
just goes
Chris.
to show.
Mhm.
I think it probably did play a factor in it, Kong. I strongly feel that music is super impressionable in the human psyche. Um, I I can't really declare it because I'm no freaking like psychologist or scientist to kind of give cold hard facts, but I do feel that it probably does. I'm gonna do some research on it actually. I'm intrigued by it now.
All right, cool. Well, Wolf, Esoteric, you guys have any other entries you want to talk about before we wrap up?
Gerudo Valley, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Oh,
Oh
Enough
yeah,
said.
yeah, that's a
That's
that's
that's a great song.
that's a banger.
that's true. That is true. Me, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, well, we'll wrap up. I'll just quickly say Streets of Rage music is amazing. Um, Thank you for joining us in the podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments down below any music or game soundtracks that you enjoy and you think we should check out. In the comments, leave any topics that you want to hear us discuss. We'll definitely consider it, and if it's a good topic, and we'll do it. You can find us on Twitch under Logical Gamers TV. Esoteric streams under that name every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He streams a lot of single player games like Dark Souls, Sekiro, Returnal, Tomb Raider, Bioshock, Neo. I mean, he plays all kinds of single player games, really fun action games. If you're into that, definitely check him out. He also plays games like Splatoon, Fall Guys, and Super Smash Brothers. So if you like those games as well, he usually does community events every now and again with chat. So check that out. I also stream. I don't have a set schedule, but I think I'm gonna stream every Sunday. So you'll usually catch me on Sundays, and I usually stream retro games, indie games, as well as just whatever kind of game I feel like playing. Mostly Monster Hunter is another franchise I play a lot too. So check me out there on Twitch under Blanka Kong. And yeah, subscribe, like, and comment. Esoteric, where can they find us on the socials?
All right, guys, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and you can also find us on Discord as well if you want to join the community there on the Logical Gamers TV. Yeah, just look for the light bulb icon and you're there.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for the combo. Have a good night.
Take care, guys.
Next time.
Yeah.